nothing has changed. Middle class wages have stagnated, and just professing frustration is not real solutions. What I've said is, okay, if you want to look at income inequality, the root cause of this, in part, is a lack of sufficient skills and understanding what are the areas we need people to get the right types of education in, and changing accreditation laws. Look at Hackbright Academy in San Francisco, 97% placement rate for jobs, and yet they're not accredited, or General Assembly in New York, which are linking higher education to actually placing people in jobs, figuring out what we need to do to hold teachers more accountable, and being willing to question some of the orthodoxies on that, and yet investing more in education, and figuring out what the curriculum change should be. So I believe that I have offered real ideas for how we can get to income inequality, and I believe that people in Silicon Valley at their best can help contribute to that dialogue. And what I want to do is inspire, energize people in Silicon Valley to start to think not what's the best for Silicon Valley, but how can they be in service to the country in thinking through how more people in the middle class and underrepresented communities can participate in this new technology economy. The NSA overreach has violated, in my judgment, mass surveillance civil liberties. We ought to have the Justice Department opinions be declassified. There ought to be a honest and transparent debate in this country about the trade-offs between liberty and security, and let people decide. You know, I love Salman Rushdie had said in America there are no secrets. Let everything come out, and this need to protect people from the debate is wrong. I also think, though, that I've said there should be an internet bill of rights because private companies have also violated people's privacy, and that's a concern as well. And I would have no hesitation speaking out for an internet bill of rights that protects people's right to expression and being on the internet from the federal government, but also from private companies. And I've taken that position very publicly, and the final point on this is, I think a member of Congress, if you're going to err on one side, you should err on the side of protecting civil liberties, because the executive branch is tasked with protecting national security. A member of Congress should be the oversight and the check. And so if there's a close call, my gut would be, let's err on the side of pushing for civil liberties in the role as a member of Congress. On the recent McCutcheon case, I mean, that's hugely disturbing. I mean, it basically means if you're a millionaire, you can go write a check to every single member of Congress and every senator. And if anything, my view is there's no problem with raising money from individuals. I would actually like to lower the limits, if possible, and force you to campaign and go make the case. And the more contributors you have, the less beholden you're going to be to any one or two individuals. The problem with McCutcheon is it's doing the exact opposite. It's giving a few very rich people more power. What can be done about it? I mean, it's, the reason I took the pledge not to take lobbyist money or corporate money or PAC money is because I said voters are so cynical of politicians who go and say, I'm going to get legislation done to ban PAC money, to ban lobbyist money. They know that never passes. Everyone gets up and applauds at the State of the Union, then no legislation is passed. So I've said very unequivocally, I'm not taking any PAC money, lobbyist money, or any of the special interest money, and this editorial board should skewer me if I get to Congress and change that pledge. I should be thrown out of office. If we get more people taking that pledge and running for office, I think we can bring a change through example in this country. One of the things we've proposed is tax credits for companies to hire folks who are long-term unemployed, who hopefully will maybe help with that. I think figuring out how we do job training in a better way, not just the federal government having WIBs and workforce investment boards that are doing this, but actually working to see if these community colleges or other places are cooperating with the private sector to have programs that have placement rates and linking federal funding to placement rates, so that there's a sense of, okay, that if you're asking someone to do this, there's going to be some job at the end of the tunnel. But then it also means, look, we need a stronger social safety net in this country. And not everyone is, we've had technological disruption, in my judgment, that's allowed certain people with certain skills, huge work ethic and huge creativity to do really well. They've done well because of their own initiative, but they've also done well because we had a technological shift and they took advantage of that. And the reality is that same shift is causing dislocation. And if people have done well with it, there's some social obligation to make sure that those who have not done well because of that shift, perhaps through no problem of their own, that there is a safety net for them. That's why I think indexing minimum wage to inflation, making sure we have a strong social security program, making sure we have strong programs in Head Start are necessary, because this idea that you can make everyone trained to have a job in technology or in Google or Facebook is just not realistic. And I think there has to be a safety net as well. The reason I felt that the debate, I was disappointed that we didn't have these debates. We've raised the money, we'll get our name ID out. But you would think in this district, in the heart of Silicon Valley, that we could have just a great conversation about these big issues of our economic competitiveness, about education. And I love that. I hate raising money. I love this part of this. This is the fun part. This is what I thought it would be like running for Congress, doing these type of forum. If I get elected and anyone runs against me, I love to debate them, because I think that it's not about the candidate, it's about elevating the public debate in this country. And ultimately, I think that's what a great representative does. It's not just about passing legislation or getting something done. You're remembered, if you think of Daniel Webster, the great American people we think have made a mark, it's because they made some contribution to the public debate in this country. They shaped public thought in some meaningful way. We don't remember what legislation or the details. We remember what did they do to influence the public debate. I still deeply believe that the currency of politics should be ideas. And I would consider, if I had the opportunity to represent this area for a few years, and people say, well, what do you want to be judged by? I would say, have I had any ability to bring greater depth and ideas to the economic debate in this nation and for the Valley?